morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to Off Script, the most authentic podcast in the world. You're here with Rook.
With your boy Anon, Mr. Anonymous.
And the main, Mr. Rush.
You're the main man now, right? You're the main man now.
Yes.
I see you brought your coffee back again.
Yeah, we begin with coffee and we end with coffee.
I think
in between we get some water.
We're always told that coffee can be dangerous for you. Why is it that you drink every day?
Yeah, a lot of things are dangerous.
Like what?
The fact that you came here with a car is dangerous.
Oh, how do you know I came with a car? How do you know I didn't take the train or the bus?
Whichever way. I saw you driving, by the way.
Oh, you
But,
saw
That's not what he meant. That's not what he meant.
But whichever way, whichever transport that you came with, whichever way you get to here, is dangerous.
Can we, Mr. Rook, can we even take a bus or a train
Nah,
here?
man, I think you're thinking about London. In Saudi, there's no such thing as trains unless you're going from Medina to Mecca.
No,
Then
you get
but you can't do it in a city. In a city, we don't have trains.
You don't have the metro.
No, you get public transport like
Where?
buses.
I haven't seen public transport here.
You must just look for them.
No, but you only have it from one location to like another hotspot, like from here to maybe Ballad. But there's only like one bus service.
And I've never seen that in
And
my
I've
life.
never seen that in my life.
No, I've seen them every day because I look for them, but I've never
This
used
guy
them.
hunts them.
Do you have a business in Balad that you look for them every day?
No. If you're not interested in anything, you won't. It's like you're driving a car and you see the similar car driven by somebody else. Because you have a car like that, you tend to remember, oh, there's a car that I have.
That is so true.
But because you don't need a bus, you're not interested with the buses. So
It's just there in the subconscious, just going in the background.
You don't see them.
It's background noise.
Have you used those ones yet? Have you used those?
I never used them.
So you've never used them? And they're
My
still in the back of your
my
head?
wife did, yes.
How was her experience?
Oh, she talks very high about the buses here in Saudi. But like I said, stigma and buses here are mostly used by construction workers. So you find if you use a bus, you regard it as one of them. I think that's the reason why it's it's similar in Oman, in Dubai. So people prefer to take taxis or train or
Rather than take the buses.
drive their own cars than
just-
taking a public transport. Public transport is regarded as
That's interesting, Mr. Rook, because in the UK, people prefer to take the public transport over driving, right?
110%.
Because of the traffic, the journeys.
Yes.
Did you ever want to drive in London?
Never. I never had never had the desire to drive, to be honest. I got my driving license so late because I live in central London. Everything is just buses and trains.
And another thing, if you don't have an electric car or a brand new car, there's
It's
so many
another
different
problem.
fines. The U-less zone, there are different zones. So
For sure.
it's a lot easier to take the public transport in London. But over here, I mean, if you don't have a car, that's it. You're walking in the heat. Because I know
You're burning calories.
You're
every
burning
second.
calories. Because some of our colleagues, follow my eyes but don't look now, they used to walk for an hour and a half
Yes.
from one place to another place. Because there are no buses, there are no trains. So you're just walking in the heat, sweating. By the time you got to his destination, drenched from head to toe in sweat.
Yeah, maybe the reason that the Londoners like to take public transport will also be the fact that the city is very old. It has been designed many years ago. And any expansion that taking place, people want to preserve, and I'm speaking the correction, they want to preserve the old design and the old buildings of the past, whereby some countries are still on the development stages. London have developed maybe over 400 years ago or 300 years ago, so they want to preserve that.
Yeah.
So it's not about changing the city to accommodate the network of transport. It's about creating network transport with
Within an existing civilization.
structure that we have.
I see. Interesting.
Yeah, we're here. The city is still expanding.
Yeah.
There are a lot of spaces they need to build.
Interesting. I mean, you gave this whole speech after I said one of our colleagues used to walk. It seems like you were that person, right? The way you're,
The way you were
the way you're speaking.
I'm a rush walker. I like to walk.
Is that why you got the name Rush? Because a 2-hour journey, you would rush into 1 hour 30 minutes of walking. Is that why you got the name Rush?
Maybe because I didn't give myself the name. I was given.
So, Mr. Rook, what are we here to talk about today? What's today's agenda?
Today's agenda, I just wanted to go back to education. From our last episode, we were talking about education, and now I want to talk about the integration of AI, technology, and how it's adapting into our normal curriculum.
We're on our holidays. We're done with teaching, and he's still bringing in education.
Man, you know, I still have to think every day how I can be a better teacher to these kids.
I think
It's
yeah.
always in the
You-
subconscious. It's always in the subconscious mind.
I see you two are more passionate than I am. I see. Interesting. But that's a very good point and an interesting topic to bring up.
Yes.
So, talking about AI.
Do you even use AI? Sorry, Mr. Anon.
That's a
Do you
great
use
question.
it?
I my whole life right now revolves around the use of AI. My daily plans are made using AI, so I am very deep in. I'm very deep in within AI. AI surrounds me. But before I answer that question, let's go to Mr. Rush, Mr. South Africa, Mr. Cape Town. What do you feel about the use of AI in education?
I think it's dangerous.
Oh, you started with a very strong word, dangerous.
Yeah, it's dangerous in the sense that AI as it's defined, it has been used for many years. I mean, you get into a lift in the building, that's AI.
Of course.
You see a candy machine in the mall, and you put 2 pounds for a bar of chocolate, that's AI, right?
But the AI right now, it's
our cars are computerized.
that's
AI.
sure. That's sure. Technology, the use of technology.
I think what you try to say is, or where we see it as something that need to be controlled or regulated, is these new apps that comes out of AI, where you have ChatGPT and
ChatGPT, yeah.
yeah, you know, these are crazy stuff.
But
You know,
Mr. Rook, you see, Mr. Rush, he started off with saying AI is dangerous. I want to ask you this question:
Go on.
has AI in any way, shape, or form helped you become a better teacher?
Every day, every single day. Sometimes I honestly use it for my PowerPoints. I use it for my explanations. I use it for my homework. And I allow students to use it freely, only to modify their work. Not to create their work, but to modify their work. Some students are struggling to do that because with the AI, they're also getting a bit lazy. They know that they can just create from scratch, making a homework which is meant to be taking them half an hour, turning it into a 3-minute homework.
See,
So which
instead
making my job a bit harder.
Yeah, so instead of using their critical skills and critical analysis, they're just relying on the AI to do the homeworks.
For sure.
Speaking of laziness, my next question for you was, is AI making you a lazier person or lazy as a teacher, or is it actually helping you develop as a better teacher?
Definitely not laziness, because before I'd be spending time to make PowerPoints. Now I'm spending time to learn different types of AI that exist, different type of applications. Which one is the best for me and my students? And I have to give them variety of, this is one app, this is how you can develop your own work, which one you can be used for explanations. So I actually have to do more works in terms of keeping them safe. So I wouldn't say it's making my life easier. I think I am adjusting to my surroundings, adjusting to the society, which takes as much time as making a PowerPoint, to be honest.
That's interesting.
And what about you, Mr. Rush?
I think we are mixing two things here. One, the use of AI by students, and the use of AI by teachers. So we as teachers, it's not that dangerous, because we need to prepare our work. We need to set up assignments.
Yeah.
And we are able also to review these assignments and these level of questions. You know, is this the level of the grade of the question that you, the kind of question that you set up? Is it of the grade that you are intending to assess? But when it comes to students, their knowledge of how to utilize these apps is mainly on how they can achieve, or we lose the authenticity of the kind of work done by a child who knows how to use AI in order to get good marks, and a child who doesn't have.
Yeah, you see,
that knowledge.
I understand your concerns. The use of AI for students currently, right now, as you say, it's a lot of plagiarism. They are not using the right tools. They're not using it properly. But however, AI is something that we cannot escape from. It is
For sure.
it is just going to be used more and more and more.
For sure.
So I believe that we need to help the students and help them how to use AI rather than not use it at all.
Exactly.
Because it's something we cannot escape.
Yes.
And AI, in my opinion, I do see a lot of advantages of AI. Yes, there are many cons. For example, plagiarism. Students are not using their critical analysis. They're not doing critical thinking. They are just, this is the question. They go to the AI and
Give me the answer.
they get the answer. However, we do also have the tools to spot the use of AI, and we can see if a student has plagiarized, right, Mr. Rook? What do you say?
100%. I know my students very well. I know what they can achieve in the classroom
And what
then
they're
when it
capable
comes-
of.
I wonder what they're capable of. And then when you come to the homework and they're using dashes and they're using all over punctuation all over the place, I can tell straight away which student has used AI by creation and which one has used by modifying their work. It's very easy to spot. I don't even need an AI detector. However, the AI detection also works. We can input our work there.
There are critiques about AI detection. You know, when it comes to writings,
Yeah.
for example, essay.
Yes.
Now, most of the kids, even the brilliant ones, they will forget to put punctuation or they will forget to put the correct comma or stop or,
For sure.
apostrophes. But you find AI is able to help the child to put these things correctly. And here's assignment, like for example in science that I teach, we have assignment where we give the kids 3 months or 2 months
To work on a project.
to work on the projects. And these projects, they are well written professionally. Even some of the presentation, I can myself articulate those kind of ideas. So if I disadvantage the child, I'm in trouble. How can I, as a teacher, be able to assess the child and at the same time, take away some of the test score that he got from the assignment
Yeah.
by saying, you have used the AI. What can I do to justify
Of course.
a handwritten, hard copy he'd written to me? And
Of course, that's an interesting point. You talked about the use of AI, where as a student, his essay or his project, they will be absolutely top mark. It will be excellent. However, I have seen students where once they will go to ChatGPT right in front of me, I'm watching their screen. They will type an essay and the AI will generate an essay with the punctuation marks, with perfect grammar. Then the student would go there. No, make it sound stupid. Enter. All of a sudden the AI goes, what do you mean? Can you take away the punctuation marks? Make some errors. Enter. Boom. Now he gets an essay that I wouldn't be able to tell that if AI wrote it. To me, there are many mistakes. So when I read it and I'm like, oh, okay, this student didn't use AI because there are so many mistakes. So students are actually evolving and developing. They're dumbering it down now instead of making it top end. So yeah, I do understand your concerns.
yeah.
But what can we do? The question is, what can we actually do? We can't stop AI. What are possible suggestions that we could do to stop students misusing AI?
Go on,
Yeah.
Splash.
The extreme end or the extreme measure we can take is to convince the government to ban the AI, because AI is not made by aliens; it's made by human beings. There are companies that produce this.
Of course, but banning something is
That's the extreme measure. I'm
Yeah,
saying, Muslim.
yes.
That's one thing. The second thing is to find a way where all assignments must be done in the classroom. So you can go and use your AI, whatever, but a written work must be done in the classroom. An assignment of 3 months must be done in the classroom.
That's interesting.
And given a certain number of hours, because there are people now, and I was reading this article in South Africa, the universities find it harder to identify works done by AI and works done
By a human.
yeah, like you say, a university student will put an assignment, and right there, please.
Make it sound human-like.
Make it
No.
Make
errors.
it dumber.
Doesn't have to be Dharma or Tan. It can be also a student knows what he got in assignment 1, assignment 2, and this is the final assignment. It said, I only need 75%, right? Or I need 80%, or I need 65%.
Yeah.
Okay, create an assignment of this topic that when it's marked,
It will be around 80%.
it will be a result of
using this
between
criteria.
75 and 80.
Interesting.
You know what I mean?
So they're not aiming for the 100 mark.
No, they're not
100% mark.
interested.
Yeah, that's interesting. But you see, earlier you spoke about how students to do the assignments in the class. Now we do our writing essays in the class, in the exam. Now, obviously, they're not allowed to use tablets. They're not allowed to use internet or any AI tools. But what do? They go home, they memorize the essay word by word, punctuation by punctuation. So when they come here to school, they don't even know what they're writing. They're just writing from memory. If you were to ask him, what does your introduction say? He doesn't know it. What does your body paragraph 1 say? He doesn't know it. What did the conclusion say? No. But he's memorized the 350-word essay.
Yeah.
Word by word.
That is also a talent, to be honest. To
That-
memorize.
yeah,
That's also
memorization is a talent.
Memorization is a talent as well.
So you see, banning it or stopping it, just like any product, if you ban it, just like certain lobsters in Indonesia, they were banned. Their prices went 3 times higher, and people found different ways to smuggle them. So if we do ban AI, students will find ways on how to use it even more.
And there's new AI companies coming in, new applications coming in. It's impossible to ban every single one. And plus, the students will be missing out because the world is developing in that way. Now, if we ban them, we are limiting their knowledge.
Yeah, because the world is revolving around
It's
AI.
all AI. Even China is planning on teaching in the school curriculum from next year, I believe, from an early age. Now, we are limiting that information. They know the key. The AI is the future.
Yeah, but
Of the future.
If we go back to what's the purpose of education? Is to teach a child critical thinking, problem solving. And if problems are solved by somebody else that happen to be robotic, how do you teach a child problem solving?
But what's the difference?
How do you teach a child critical thinking? How do you teach a child, social skills by AI?
Of course.
But what's the difference between AI helping or parents helping or private tutors helping? There's also the culture of parents helping their kids with homework.
That's a very strong point, Mr. Rook. Yes, that is
So
true.
what about private tutors coming in? This culture that we live in, it's mostly private tutors coming in helping the kids with their homework. At home, when I was in school, my parents used to help me every step of the way, holding my hand.
They were what?
The
currently
parents
what
of
AI
the-
is doing.
Exactly. The AI at that time was my parents, was my friends, or were my friends.
And how you used to get your homeworks?
They were all paperwork, and my mom would sit with me, or my father would sit with me. And to be honest with you, some of the stuff that they taught me at my young age, I can never forget. Like long division was taught to me by my mom, and when I was like maybe 6 or 7 years old, and I still remember it. Some of the things that my parents taught me, it's stuck in my head. Now, if you ask me to recall what my primary school teacher taught me, I can't say a single thing.
I was never helped with my homework. My homework was, I had to do my own homeworks. And if I get wrong 2 or 3 questions, my teacher will give us the correction, and we will write correction after the homework. So you have to have a homework. You have to do the homework based on what the teacher has taught you in the class. You go home, you do the homework. Tomorrow morning you submit, and then the teacher do the corrections. After he marked and you got 2 wrongs or 1 wrong or no wrong, he will do correction for all the questions, and you can see yourself where you went wrong. And then you write those corrections from the board with the steps that the teacher has shown there on the board, and that becomes, okay, these are my homeworks, and there's a correction. Homework supposed. So there was no dependence that if I go home, my father is going to help me, or my mother is going to help me, or my grandmother will help me. No, because so it shows you if you have the mindset that AI will help you to do these homeworks. You don't need to do homeworks on due dates. You can do 5 minutes. 5 minutes before the homework is due.
But you see, AI can help make homeworks more dynamic And, we do use AI to help students with their homework. Rather than give them an answer, AI can be used to give certain steps. So scaffolding, we have mixed ability students.
Yes.
We have a student that's very weak and a student that's very strong. So a strong student, he might not need me. He does not need the teacher. Because when we do give the work, within 2 minutes, Mister, I'm done. He doesn't need no assistant. He doesn't need the teacher, let alone AI. Then you have the weaker students. Some students, their English is not their first language. I see them in the class using AI just to understand the question, to attempt it. Or maybe they're stuck on stage 1. So the AI will assist them in stage 1. I'm just one person, one teacher. I have 22 students in the room. I'm not available for everyone 24/7. So AI is that substitute. If a student needs me, he can go to AI easily. And AI will give different explanations, just like I would.
That's so true. Because if we take the essay part out and we talk about the science and we talk about the maths and we talk about history, AI can make the subject more interesting. Explain fractions to me in a story.
That's so interesting. You mentioned history and other subjects because
Yes.
we are so focused on English and maths.
On English
Yeah,
and maths.
what about history?
If we talk about other subjects and explain it to me as if it's a story. So, for example, sometimes when I'm bored, when I'm eating my food, I like to watch videos. So if you watch YouTube channels like, I'm not going to say the name, they explain to you the past history events in a story. They have the graphics there. It makes it much more interesting. And AI can easily do that with every single story and topic.
And also, what if a teacher's biased?
Definitely.
You're teaching history
Yes.
or you're teaching certain things and a teacher's biased. Where AI, yes, there are some bias elements in AI because obviously is whoever's inputted the data out there. But AI can give you a more broader version of history. It won't just narrow it down, You won't just get the colonizers' version of the history.
Yes.
AI might go dwell into the less known.
So
versions of history.
that is on a level where one has to research using AI.
Yeah.
Yes.
The problem is not there. The problem is, what's the purpose of education? Do we get to deliver the purpose to the kids? And how do we assess the kids to know if the purpose is reached? This is where AI becomes a problem. It becomes dangerous. AI is not a problem if one has to research what are the station near me in London, or which stations has got the fastest, or what's the history of
Any information that they need,
information. Yeah, you can get how to make your own samosa. AI can teach you that,
Of course. But AI...
But sorry to cut you.
No problem. No worries.
But AI, the danger of AI, it creates intellectual laziness to the students, whereby they feel that, because your brain is like your body. If you go to gym, your body will be
As you're training it, yes, of course.
Yeah. Now the mental gym is what we call critical thinking, problem solving. That's a mental gym.
Yeah.
How do you take that into into a child's head? That's
course.
the problem that we have.
Of course, but that's one aspect of it. What if a child, you've got the very high ability students. Now you are no longer stimulating his mind. Whatever you're teaching, you cannot stimulate his brain no more. You need differentiation. You need a lot of differentiation. So over here, if I was to use AI, I know I will stimulate his mind way more using AI than if I was to just give him a worksheet. Because AI, obviously, if you can't beat him, you join them. Yes. So AI is, I'm not going to say it's going to replace us, but it is a lot more intelligent than we are in some aspects. Not in the emotional, in the behavior management. I'm talking about just information. So AI, for example, I have a student, very intelligent. He was like, Mister, this work is too easy for me. I opened ChatGPT. I inputted a prompt. Boom. It generated some questions that even it took him the whole lesson and he couldn't finish. And he was interested. He wanted to solve. It just gave him some scenarios, some problems to solve, and that took him the whole lesson. So AI can be used to actually stimulate their minds.
And plus, the students that you're talking about, the lazy students or people that don't want to work hard, students that don't want to hug, those students will struggle with or without AI. Regardless. Now, we can either help them escape that. So those students will actually say, I don't want to get caught by Mr. Rook. So let me find other ways, make this stupider. Let me memorize this. So they are still working hard to best of their capabilities, trying not to get caught.
I beg to differ on that because I have a student who get 1 out of 15 every test that I give.
Okay.
At least he's consistent. He keeps on getting ones. He shows consistency.
I have another student who gets 17 out of 17, which is 100%.
Yeah.
If you look at the homeworks, in one term, we have about 45 to 33 homeworks.
Mm-hmm.
The score of the homeworks is the same score of with the one that gets 17 out of 17 in all his quizzes and final exams. So here, every quiz, because you have to do it physically, you get 1 out of 15.
But when he goes home,
he does a homework, 33 homeworks in 1 week.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, 33 homeworks in one term. He get the same marks as the child who is.
Yeah, but that's something like Mr. Rook mentioned. It could have been a tutor.
No, that's not what he said. He said there's no difference between the child who is doing well or the child who is not doing well. If you with either way.
No, that's not what I meant.
That's what you said.
No, that's not what I meant. I meant is that student will work regardless in class. Like if he doesn't want to try hard, it doesn't matter if AI is involved or not. He won't do the work. At least this way, he's trying to escape one way or another by using AI, making his work sound dumber. Plus, what he does at home, we are not 100% sure. Is he using AI? Is he using private tutoring? Is he using his parents?
You see, guys.
Because, by the way, I believe that you were one of the few people who were left alone to do your own work and you had the independence. Majority of the world, majority of UK, majority of Saudi Arabia, where we reside right now, parents are helping, private tutors are helping.
Yeah,
that's interesting.
And I think maybe that's the reason why you were so well disciplined. You, when I look at us outside of the podcast, you are the most well disciplined out of both of us.
I mean, that's unfair to say about me. Why'd you say?
But none of us analyze how the parents, how the number of people that tutored, or the number of families that find the need to have a tutor that drops or rise.
He's basically saying we need to do studies. We need to go around.
We need to do studies to find out does the AI reduce the number of tutors?
I mean, this is a good topic. We will leave that for the audience to decide. We can talk about this all day.
Yeah,
I mean, there are so many other points. We'll let the audience decide. Should we use AI or should we ban it? Just let us know, please, in the comments. Thank you. Let's talk about something else today.
Okay.
Let's talk about. We were talking
about education for so long.
Yeah, education. Let's talk about
our education.
I'm more interested in Mr. Rush actually. Mr. Rush, yesterday you mentioned you went to Dubai for 7 years. You wanted to go to Uganda. I was just calculating in my head, without a calculator, of course. I was calculating. I was like, when did you go to school? When did you graduate? How was that journey for you? Because you didn't really tell us when you graduated. I know me and Mr. Rook talked about graduation. What about you?
Yeah. So I went to Vostell at like 2012.
How old were you, if you don't mind me asking?
37 years.
37 years old.
Yeah.
When you went to varsity.
Yes.
Were you? So you finished high school.
Finished high school, 1997.
Okay.
And then I stayed for 13 years.
You didn't go into education.
Hustling in life, life struggles.
Oh wow.
Yeah, tutoring, it was part of the hustling.
So you were tutoring, okay. So you were involved in the subject.
I was involved in education, but I was not fully qualified teacher.
Okay.
Yes, so I just used that as a means to make the ends meet.
Mm-hmm.
And then 2012, when I was in Abu Dhabi, I got accepted at university, which I applied 8 times. 8 times I applied with a rejection.
Wow.
Till 2012, I got accepted. So,
subhanallah, that's great.
What kept you? What made you keep going? 8 times rejection. I'm sure if it was.
I mean, many people would have given up.
Yeah, because I had hope. I'm a prisoner of hope, so I believe that you don't do something. Okay, we all desire the good outcomes, but there's uncertainty about outcomes, and that's what hope is all about. So you keep doing, you keep going, and one day
you might
or you might not get out.
Mr. Rook, I want to be touched by what he just said, but can you just break it down in simple English for our audience? Because, that I think that went above our heads. So break down what Mr. Rush said in simple English. So he something about prison, something about hope, something about... so please explain it.
I'm going to try to.
Please, you can paraphrase it. Go ahead.
I think what he meant was that he is extremely hopeful in a sense that he believes in hope. That's what he meant. He's a prisoner of
getting rejected 8 times.
Exactly. I'm trying to make it as simple as I can. Because I don't want to take away, because what he said was beautiful.
Yeah. So, and what about the prison part? Did he go to prison, or
no,
what did he mean by that?
He just means he's a prisoner. He believes in it. Like, he hasn't escaped from hope. He always believes in hope. He has high hope for his life. He's a prisoner of hope. It's internalized.
Okay,
he's internalized hope that you cannot separate the two.
I mean, at the age of 37, would you have gone to university at the age of 37?
Definitely not, man. Definitely not. I'm actually the opposite. I believe everything that you do, you either deserve it or you don't. If you keep working hard for it. If you don't work hard, I feel like some people are hopeful, but they don't make the effort.
Oh, so you're saying they have something called false hope?
False hope, exactly.
Laying down in bed and hoping,
yes, I'm gonna be a millionaire.
I'm gonna be a millionaire.
Exactly. So
Okay.
I'm on the opposite side, but as he said his story that he kept on trying and he was hopeful. I think I personally would have gave up at the third time. Even third time is too much for me.
To be honest, that's very hard. So, Mr. Rashid, going to university at the age 37.
That's correct.
Was that challenging for you? Because you would have been the oldest other than the professor teaching, right?
Yeah, and you become known for, everybody knows you because they can spot you. It's like a tiger in a group of foxes, or you're gonna spot on. So people are, hey,
everybody, that's the guy. That's the old guy.
Yeah, the old guy. You know what I mean? And also the gap of 13 years. In your mind, you say, I can still do what I used to do when I was in high school.
Yeah.
But you've forgotten everything.
So you have to.
So when you start, when you start, and everything is try to, you try to think that you're still as good as you used to be, but in reality you're not.
You're not. Yeah. That.
So that 6 months for me was the toughest. To get back everything and you still learn the new stuff that you get at varsity.
Of course.
It was really, really tough. Mental tough.
What about you, Mr. Anon? Are you hopeful or are you, what type of person are you? Do you believe in hope?
I do believe in hope. Yes, I do believe in hope. But everyone has a level of hope or amount of hope that they have. I believe certain things can make you hopeless at times. But having hope, you're not really looking... You see, hope, it's very difficult to explain hope. But I haven't been challenged like Mr. Rush here. 8 times rejection. I think after the 4th or 5th time, I would have stopped. For sure. Or going to university at the age of 37. It would have been very difficult for me to actually go back to university.
How do you leave all your other responsibilities?
All responsibility,
family.
You have a family.
I'm sure you had a family at that time.
Yeah,
and so many people bringing you down. Hey, how can you go to university now? You're 37.
Yeah.
The boat has already sailed.
Not only that, I remember the day when I registered, because I registered late. I had to resign my job so that I can join the...
Oh, so you had to even leave your job to go to university?
I had to leave the job.
Wow.
So, so you leave the job to go study in order to get the job. You know what I mean? So for me, it was like attending the lecture, and the next week there's the quiz one. We had to do a quiz or test. I can't remember what they used to call it. Was a quiz or test? I think test.
Yeah.
And I got 56.
Was that average score? Was that below average? 56.
The perception in those days is if you are very old and you get 56, that's a very good mark.
Okay.
So if you're young, that's a poor. You have to work hard. So the professor came to me and said, well done. I said, well done for what?
For 56.
Hey, look what you got. You're just here for a week.
Yeah.
I said, but this is not what I'm hoping to get,
Yeah.
I feel like... and then I look at those who are closer to me in my age. I mean, they were like some other guys that were like 30 years, 33, 28. So those are like my guys, like we are very close. So the close was not that close, but they were regarded old. Mm-hmm. So they also got around that, or 55 or 50. and they came to me and said, hey, you got more than us, and then, and you're just here for 2 weeks. You must help us. They're telling me. And I look at them and say, but there's no big difference, you know what I mean?
Yeah, 50 bucks.
When I look at the youngster, the 19, the 18 years, they've got like 85, 89, and they look at each other and say, hey, what do you get today? So I said, but in my mind, I said, but that's where I belong.
Yeah.
That's where I belong. So this quiz 2 or test 2, I got the same as those guys.
Okay, now.
So the lecture came again to me. He said, were you teaching in Abu Dhabi? I said, if I was a teacher there, then why am I starting to become a teacher?
Yeah.
So he found himself like, oh, this guy. So then it became a regular thing, and the professor didn't come to me again to say anything about my score. And then I was asked by the same guys to come and help them every now and then. So we become friends somehow. Yeah.
Okay, I see. I wanted to ask one thing. Did you ever lose hope? At age 37, quitting your job, challenges of university, the expenses. Did you ever lose hope? Oh, I can't do it. I want to quit.
No, I think I was stretched to a point where you feel like you're going to just fall off the cliff. But there's still the thickness of the cliff that keeps you there. And you say, let me hold on for another
day.
A day or two, and somehow
let me keep going.
Yeah, somehow the weather change, and you get to do
you get by
this and that, and then you keep moving.
I wanna speak about Mr. Rook here. Now, Mr. Rook is very well known in London amongst friends and family, where a small hurdle comes his way, and he just turns around and he says, "I'm done.
That's very true.
I can't go through this hurdle no more.
Yeah.
That's it. I'm done." He just loses hope. He gives in. He gives up. If something is a little bit of an inconvenience, he will just turn around and walk away. Is that a true representation of him, Mr. Rook?
I wouldn't say a little inconvenience. I believe hope is more of a physical thing. It's not an internal. Like, I'll try my utter best to achieve something, and being hopeful alone is not enough. I think you need a third person, a third hand coming your way and grabbing you and pulling you out of the sewers. And I believe I did not get that. Growing up in my life, I believe a third figure did not come and raise me out of the mud. And I'm not saying that, like, pity me. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that being hopeful is great, but I think another figure needs to come and be that hope for you.
I see. That's interesting. He says that because I was just going to mention, he mentioned sewers, another figure, hand grabbing you. So there was this behavioral psychologist by Mr. Kurt Richter, Dr. Kurt Richter. So he conducted an experiment in the 1950s where he took a group of rats and he put them in a bucket of water or whatever, a system which
Strange
had water.
experiment.
Yeah. Unethical, of course. We're against animal cruelty, just to let you know. But he submerged the rats, or he dropped the rats in these buckets. And the first group of rats, they swam and they struggled for 15 minutes, eventually giving up and drowning. Then he did the same experiment with another group of rats. Dropped them in the water. After 10 minutes, took them out. Let them dry, gave them food. Then he put them back. The second time, how long do you think they swam for? So the first group, within 15 minutes, they gave up and drowned. The second group, how long do you think they swam for?
2-3 hours?
2-3 hours.
It's realistic now. They have the
What
energy
about you,
to
Mr.
swim.
Roche?
Half an hour.
They swam for 60 hours straight
6
without
hours.
giving up. Yeah.
Is this based on the energy they gained when they...
This is based on this idea of hope. The second group of rats, they had hope because they were initially at the first attempt they were saved. So the second time they were still hopeful that someone will come and save them again. So they swam for 60
So
hours
when
straight.
I said I'm in the sewer, you thought about rats straight
Yeah,
up.
I thought about rats. So exactly. So can you imagine? Hope 60 hours. That's a 240 times increase.
More than that. More than that.
So think about that. So being hopeful. A lot of times just because we don't see the outcome or we don't see the goal, the end goal, many people could lose hope.
For sure.
I'm just trying to think here. So that definition of hope, will it be on scientific perspective? Number one. Number two, what about the critiques that why we're using animals to equate the behavior of human being?
Because in many ways, we are very similar to animals. In many ways. We are different, yes. But in many ways, we are similar to animals.
So do they define hope the way we define hope?
No, because we do not currently have the tools to of course, we can't ask an animal, are you hopeful or not? But just looking at the behavior of certain animals. So if you analyze certain behaviors of animals, for example, joy. Did you know that rats, when they're tickled, they laugh and they giggle and they smile? So the same way we can see those emotions in animals, human beings is very similar. The same way hope.
It's very similar to when you rescue a cat or you rescue a dog, and then a dog drags you to, oh, look, there's my babies, and look after me. The dog is hopeful that this person who has saved me will now help me with my kids.
With my kids.
It's just an emotion that they might be feeling. Maybe the dog's referring to something else, jubaluli. But
yeah, we don't know.
We call it hope.
There is hope. You can see the effects.
You remember the accident that happened in San Jose in Chile?
Oh, the 33 miners that were stuck for.
Yeah, they were stuck 700 meters down under.
Yeah, that's correct.
And in 3 days, while the rescue operation started, so they have these
climbers.
The drills. They were
yeah.
So one of them wrote a piece of paper.
Yeah.
And it stuck on the tip of the drill.
Yeah,
and then when the drill was pulled out, it read we are in a self-shelter here in 700 meters under. All of us, the three of us are safe.
Yeah, but for the first 17 days, I believe, I might be wrong, they didn't have contact with the outside world. So imagine
for 2 months. For 2 months.
No, for the first 17 days, they had no absolute contact. They didn't even know someone was coming to rescue them because they were in a shop. So for the first 17 days, they had no idea what was going on outside of the world, and no one outside of the world knew what's going on there. So imagine 700 meters below the ground for the first 17 days. You don't know if someone's going to come to rescue you. Nobody knows if you're alive or dead. That is the time where you need hope.
Yeah, but they had the rations every that will mean to last every 3 days.
Yeah, correct. I mean, I did read that they had a tuna can, and each person would take a spoon.
Yeah.
A spoon every 48 hours.
Yeah,
they didn't even have the rations to survive for a long time. Yes.
You know, we've spoken about our personal experiences, but you're still staying as anonymous. You need to tell us times where you were hopeful, where you've lost hope. You haven't given us any personal information. We've spoken our hearts out,
That's
man.
very interesting. For me, my biggest hope and my biggest motivation in life is religion. So I believe religion is the strongest hope one can get is religion, is to believe in God.
Yes.
Is to be hopeful that God will come and save me. Just like you mentioned, a third person coming in to save you.
Yes.
For me, I know that third being is always there. God is always there watching me. Allah is always watching me. So I am always hopeful. I've never lost hope in life.
Have you always been this firm believer? Have you always been religious? Have you always thought Allah is going to come and save me?
I mean, we do go through phases, you know, our iman fluctuates up and down.
Yes.
But I have seen some miracles happen in my life that's made me forever hopeful. In certain situations where I did think, for example, my father having cancer and the doctors telling us that, you know, the chances of survival are very low. But many people, and at that point, I had lost hope because if a specialist tells you that the chances of survival are very low.
I actually remember that day.
Yeah.
I remember that day.
So you see, I had lost hope. If a specialist tells you there's nothing they can do, and then I remember other people's coming telling me, wise people telling me, no, you always have hope in Allah. Even if they tell you there is no chance of survival, have hope that Allah. And you see, my father, alhamdulillah, is still alive today. He's doing well. So so after that, certain things, I'm always hopeful because I don't think God is going to leave his creation on this earth without any guidance. So we do have the guidance. We do have hope. And even if we don't get what we want in this life, we hope to get it in the afterlife. I mean. You know what? I think it's been enough for today. We'll close the chapter here for now. We're hopeful that you guys will be here for tomorrow.
Yeah, just remember that optimism is attached to expectation, where hope is attached to uncertainty.
That's correct. And Mr. Rush, can you also tell them that you're hopeful that they're gonna like and subscribe and share?
Yes.
I hope you'll subscribe and like
And
this
share.
Oscar.
And share.
And share.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Take
you.
care,
Thank
guys.
you.
Assalamu
Thank you.
alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum. Take care.